Okay, chaps, so we are moving on to the next chapter, which is exponents. And all we got to do today is just remind ourselves of all these rules we learned last year and the year before it. So if I have 2p cubed times 8p squared, what do you reckon is the answer? 16p5. Okay, the rule that we are here work with, I'm going to write it here, okay, is if I have two bases, they are the same. The p and the p is the same base. A to the power of n times a to the power of n. The rule is that I need to add the exponents. Okay, so I'll multiply these two together, p to the power of 5, and 2 times 8 is 16. Okay, now, by the way, I'll just write down here, if I have 2 to the power of 3 plus 8 to the p squared, is there anything I can do with it?
No,
There's nothing I can do. I can factorize if they ask me to factorize, but because this is p cubed and this is p squared, I can't add it together. There's nothing I can do. However, if I have 2p cubed plus 8p cubed, what can I do with that?
10p.
Yeah, 10p cubed. Okay, so we all happy with that? Okay, right. Here now I've got maybe more than p's. I've got x and y. So what will be the answer here? 36. I'm multiplying the number times x cubed, y, 7. Are we happy with that?
Yes, sir.
The same here. I'm just making sure you've got two different bases. Anything I can do here? Nothing I can do. Just leave it like that. Just leave it like that.
Leave what?
3 squared times 2 squared. There's nothing I can do because the bases are different. I can write down an answer. If they ask an answer, okay, I can say, okay, that's 9 times 4 is 36. I can definitely do that. Yeah? But if I had, what is 3 squared?
9.
9. 2 squared? 4. 9 times 4.
Can you not go 3 times 2?
Well, in this case, because they're both squared, what I can do, I can say, okay, it's 3 times 2 squared, because they're both squared. I can do that. And that, what is 3 times 2? 3 times 2? 6 squared. What is 6 squared? 36. So it works out the same. But if one was, let's say, power 3, then I wouldn't be able to do that.
Would that be 6?
No, there's nothing I can do. Now I just need to say, okay, it's 9 times 8.
So I'm still a bit confused on
Now,
how
I'll answer that in a minute, okay? What really matters for me, and I'll help you with this, Luana, in a second, but what matters is if I have x squared times y cubed, is there anything I can do with it? That's what I'm aiming for. That's why I want to make sure you're all clear about that.
Yes.
When I have different bases, I can't do anything. I'll help you with this number later, okay?
Alright.
But that's the important. There's nothing I can do here. All right, what about, again, let's get rid of the numbers. Let's say it's x and y. So I've got two numbers in the brackets. What can I do here?
cube answer.
X to the power 15. Okay, it's x to the power 5, power 3. Okay, maybe I'll write it in 2 stages, okay? X to the power 5, and I need to power 3. So each one will get a cube here. Times y to the power of 7 to the power of 3. So that's the first, the next rule that I'm using here. Okay, I'm doing exponent of exponent. If they're both in, I usually say the animals in the cave, each one of them gets to wear the hat. Remember that? Okay? But then the second rule is that if I have exponent of exponent, what do I do with it? Multiply it. Okay, so it's x power 15, y power 21. Let's just write down these rules because there's a couple rules that we didn't talk about that we just spoke about. So if I have a times b power n, that means that it will be a to the power of n, b to the power of n. Both of them get to wear the hat. The other rule we just saw here is a to the power of n. If I'm powering it by n,
M times n.
exactly, it's going to be multiplying the exponents. We happy with that? Okay, now we're moving on to division. We've done multiplication, we've done power. What about that?
Cross cancel.
X to the power of
2.
2. Okay? So why is that? Because the rule is a to the power of n divided by a to the power of n. It only works if it's the same basis. Okay? It's going to be a to the power of n minus n. We're minusing there. Because it is cross cancel. You're right. But what happens if I've got here x to the power 5 divided by x power 9?
X to the negative.
Yes, but I want to take you one step before that. The rule, just use the same rule, okay? It's 5 minus 9, right? What is 5 minus 9?
Negative 4.
Negative 4.
Yeah.
So what Wenga is already saying, sir, I don't like, or you told me, sir, don't write a negative exponent. Always write a positive exponent. And you're right. What is x to the power of minus 4? Basically 1 over x to the power of 4. Now, in grade 9, we always want you to write a positive exponent because we want you to understand what does it mean a negative exponent. It's just you shove them down. Okay? But actually in grade 10, often there's nothing wrong with leaving it as minus 4. Okay? Unless you ask not to. So there's another rule here. X to the power minus m. How can I write it as a positive exponent?
1 over x to the power.
1 divided by x to the n. Now, I'm just thinking about another thing that I was working with a grade 9. What about if I have 1 divided by x to the power of minus 3? So I've got a negative exponent, but he's in the denominator. Yes. Sorry? So the answer will be x to the power of 3. So if he's at the bottom and he's negative, you push him up. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll just pause here and maybe I'll explain that if you need to. Okay. So, yes. Power 0. We know what power, negative power, just means is 1 divided by the positive power. What does power 0 mean? 1 is 1. Okay? Do you remember why that is? Okay?
Because 050 is unchecked.
You've been told. Let me just quickly show you. Okay? Can I write, instead of x power 0, can I write, let's say, 3 minus 3? Because 3 minus 3 is 0, right?
Yeah. It's got
Yeah, okay. Will you help me? Okay. Now, I've got this rule here. Where is it? I know that if I have a to the power of m divided by a to the power of n, I can write as a to the power of m minus n. But doesn't that mean that I can also work backward? So if I've got a to the power of m minus n, I can write as a power m divided by a power n. So now I've got x to the power of 3 minus 3. So can I write it as x to the power of 3 divided by x power of 3?
yes, sir.
Yeah, because, you know, if I do 3 minus 3, then I get that. Now, what is x cubed divided by x cubed?
1.
1. Because it's something divided by itself. Everything you do, when you divide by itself, you get the same thing. Now, I could have written, instead of 3 and 3, I could have wrote 4 and 4. But if I wrote 4 and 4, also this will be 4 and 4. And what is x to the power of 4 divided by 1? It's always going to be 1. So that is the rule that you need to remember here. A power 0 is 1. Okay? I'll just pause. Okay, so now let's just use this rule and just make sure we're all happy with that. Okay? So I've got 2x y squared divided by xy squared, all that power 0, x divided by y4. So let's work on the denominator first. Sorry, the numerator. What is 2x y squared times x?
2x squared was
2x squared y squared. Now, what is xy squared? Please don't know. All that power 0. How much is that? 1. So I don't even need to write it because I just time it by y to the power 4. You don't need to time it by 1. Okay? Now, I can do something with a y. What can I do? 2x squared times y power?
0.
No.
No, wait,
2.
but then why would
2 and 4?
minus 2.
so
Minus
would
2.
disappear though?
Minus
Wouldn't
2. Okay, hang on. Okay, now, as far as I'm concerned, you can leave it like that. There's nothing wrong with leaving it like that. But if you're asked to write down positive exponent, then we'll write it as 2x squared divided by y squared. Okay, I'll answer questions.
Yeah,
You're
that's-
right. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
We wanted to answer that.
Okay. Okay, so this is gonna bring us the last rule. Okay? What happens when I have a fraction and I cube it? What's the rule here? Hiding here. You cube the top and you divide by the cube of the bottom. So I have 2x all that cubed divided by y cubed. Okay? Which means what is 2x all that cubed? How much is that going to be? 8x cubed, because 2 cubed is 8. Divided by y cubed. And I don't cancel out 3's here. Okay? Okay? The rule that I'm going to add to here is if I have a divided by b and I'm powering it by m, the answer will be a power m divided b power m. Okay?
So you just basically
You cube in
Okay.
the top and you cube the bottom.
so you just cube in.
Last bit, guys, it's not a rule, but I just want to make sure that you're happy with these minuses. Minuses are a bit tricky. Yes, Mango, you want to answer?
Yeah. So that be 4x squared.
Correct. So what we have here is basically minus 2 squared times x squared. We're squaring each one of them. Minus 2 squared is 4x. So 4x squared. Because when I'm powering an even exponent by minus, it turns into a plus. Minus 2 times minus 2 is plus, a plus 4. Okay? But what happens here when I have power 3?
Negative 8x.
It's going to be negative 8x cubed. Because minus 2 cubed is minus 8. Okay? I think the last thing that I want to just show you here is, hopefully not going to confuse it too much. If I have minus x squared, how much is that?
So
With the brackets.
X squared.
It's just x squared because it's minus 1 squared, which is 1 times x squared. But if I've got minus x squared without the brackets,
Positive x squared.
that's
it's
the answer.
still just, that's the answer. It's minus x squared. There's nothing I can do. What's the difference? The difference here, I'm squaring that. Okay? So minus x squared is minus x times minus x. So the minus dies. It's x squared. Here, I've got the minus 1 hiding here. But BODMAS tells me, first of all, you've got to square the x, and then you're going to times it by minus 1. So that remains a negative number. Okay, it's x squared times minus 1. It's negative x squared. I'll pause here, and if there's any more issues, I'll help you.